Max Pringle with these headlines. Ukrainian officials say a team from the UN's International Atomic Energy Agency is expected to visit the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant next week after it was temporarily knocked offline. More shelling was reported in the area today. Ukraine says Russia is seeking to sabotage the IAEA visit. Fire damage to a transmission line at Europe's largest nuclear plant caused a blackout across the region on Thursday. It also heightened fears of a possible nuclear catastrophe in a country still haunted by the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. Ukraine's energy company said workers managed to reconnect the plant to Ukraine's electricity grid today after hours of work. British energy regulators announced today that energy costs this autumn could rise up to 80%. The price rise follows a record 54% annual spike in April and could have a devastating impact on low-income people. The UK has the highest inflation rate among the group of 7 wealthiest democracies. Feature Story News' Laura Macon-Isherwood reports from London.
Consumer expert Martin Lewis says the price rise could push millions into poverty.
I am completely out of tools to help the most vulnerable, for whom this is a catastrophic, unaffordable price rise that will leave some dying, many others suffering health and mental health problems.
The UK Chancellor Nadeem Zahawi says his department is working on plans to support people, but ultimate decision-making will be down to the next Prime Minister.
We need to make sure that this isn't a sticking plaster, that for the long term we continue to help the most vulnerable who have no cushion. And that's what I'm determined to do, and we're working up those options for both households and for business, for the incoming Prime Minister to take those decisions.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Laura Macon-Isherwood.
A federal appeals court ruled on Thursday that Arkansas can't enforce its ban on transgender children receiving gender-affirming health care. A 3-judge panel of the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed a judge's ruling temporarily blocking the state from enforcing the 2021 law. A trial is scheduled for October before the same judge on whether to permanently block the law. Arkansas was the first state to enact such a ban, which prohibits doctors from providing gender-confirming hormone therapy, puberty blockers, or surgery to anyone under 18 years old, or from referring them to other providers for the treatment. There are no doctors who perform gender-affirming surgery on minors in the state. The court ruled that the law is discriminatory, quote, because a minor's sex at birth determines whether or not the minor can receive certain types of medical care under the law. The American Civil Liberties Union challenged the law on behalf of 4 transgender youth and their families, as well as 2 doctors who provide gender-confirming treatments. Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif asked for international help today, battling deadly flood damage in the South Asian nation. Heavy rains continued in the country, raising the overall death toll from flooding since mid-June to 937. Meanwhile, neighboring India is dealing with devastating floods. Feature Story News' Ishan Garg has more.
Well, the top concern for the authorities really is saving the lives of people. Only in one state of Orissa, nearly 10 million people are affected. It's unclear how the floods are affecting people in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh in terms of numbers, but it is estimated that another 10 to 12 million people could be affected there as well. And now what the government is now trying to do is trying to evacuate people to safety. They're also roping in the Indian Army, the National Disaster Response Teams, to ensure that people can be airlifted from villages which are completely submerged right now. Authorities are taking various steps like conducting aerial surveys and also paying compensation for the economic loss that the people have suffered. But the situation, the Weather Office says, could get worse in the next few days, as most of North India is about to receive heavy rainfalls in the next few days as well.
And that's Ishan Garg in New Delhi. Southern California conservationists are asking Congress to create a new wildlife refuge in Riverside County. Suzanne Potter reports.
Senators Dianne Feinstein and Alex Padilla recently introduced the Western Riverside National Wildlife Refuge Act, and Congressman Ken Calvert introduced the House version this spring. Aaron Hake is with the Riverside County Transportation Commission, which manages the Western Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority.
The exact location of where the refuge will be is not yet defined. If these bills pass, it will then be up to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to decide where they would like to acquire land to establish the refuge.
I'm Suzanne Potter.
And I'm Max Pringle.